a couple weeks ago when we had class. Were you here that day? You weren't here. Neither of you were here that day.
I think I was sick.
You were sick, and I think you were sick. On that day that we talked about hijabs?
Yeah.
The one day I was going to call you both up. Anyway, so what's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Fatima. I'm from Saudi Arabia.
My name's Alet, but no one can say that, so everyone calls me Ale. My parents are from Egypt.
Can you just tell us a little bit about, this covering? What is it? Why? How? Can you start anywhere?
So, I'm Muslim, if you didn't know that. When you reach a certain age and you're female, you start wearing the hijab. That's what this is called. Usually you wear it around puberty, once you get your period. So it just depends family to family though, because I know some of my friends didn't start wearing it till later in high school, college, when they felt ready, to be honest, or when their parents, when it was some people, their parents are like, oh, start wearing it when you start your period, or oh, when you're ready, when you feel most comfortable. So, for example, I started wearing it when I got my period because I'm considered a woman at that point. When you're younger and aren't puber, your sins and deeds don't necessarily count. If you were to die before reaching puberty, you would in Islam go to heaven because you're a child. Things start to count when you hit puberty.
When you say you started wearing it, did you make the decision?
Yeah. I made the decision to start wearing it.
How did you know? How did you know at that point? Where did you learn that, hey, I need to make a decision now because I just started menstruating?
My mom wears it, and I'm the oldest girl in my family. I have 2 other sisters. I've grown up in America my whole life, and I've lived in different states, and I've lived in pretty diverse areas. So I lived outside of Portland, Oregon. I lived in Wisconsin, lived in Kansas. It was always diverse little pockets. So I was surrounded by people who were very accepting. I didn't wear it the first day I got my period, I rushed and put it on. That's not what happened. It was during the summer, and I decided to wait till the first day of 7th grade, and I was okay, I'm gonna start wearing this. And it was weird because the day before I was wearing short sleeves. As you can see, I'm wearing short sleeves right now, and I have long sleeves underneath because I have to stay covered. But I was wearing short sleeves and shorter shorts, and the day before, and then the next day I'm wearing a long sleeve, a scarf, and jeans, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm what the heck? I'm putting this on right now, and I'm never gonna take it off in public, because that's a common question, oh my God, can your dad see your hair? I'm well, he made me, so yeah, he can see my hair. And then people are can your brother see your hair? And I'm yeah. I get all these questions, do you shower with it? And I'm well, how would I wash my hair then? Or do you sleep with it? And I'm no, I don't.
By the way, you're answering questions that people in the class have, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not throwing shade. I think every question is reasonable, and people are oh my God, this is so ignorant, but why do you wear it? And I'm that's a great question to ask.
Yeah.
It's
Let's go to you.
Well,
Fatima.
I have a comment on what you said. You mentioned that the day before 7th grade, I think you said, you were wearing shorts and you were just wearing a t-shirt, and you didn't have your hijab on.
Yeah.
And this is something that a lot of people don't realize, that it's not just the hijab.
Yeah.
We cover our hands, and we wear.
And not just women, but men also, right? But
no,
not to the same degree.
Really.
Some
men are supposed to cover from their belly button to their knees.
Yeah.
It's practically so
but
people
anyway,
wouldn't
sexualize
you.
Yep.
So the whole point of this is so if you meet me, you wouldn't focus on my body, but instead you would focus on me. You know. So for us girls, this is what happens, because when a girl gets her period, that's when she starts to develop those curves, and she starts having more feminine boobs and so on, wear long sleeves and so on.
So the idea here is that with that in mind, suddenly the girl starts to become a woman, starts to get attraction, attention from men in some kind of ways. And so it's like, listen, if you men are going to look at me, then you're going to look at me,
Exactly.
not my body.
Not
you're going to actually look at me.
Yeah.
So how about you? What was the...
For my family, my mother wears hijab, and she kind of started like getting me used to wearing hijab. So I guess like I used to just like wear this scarf or the hijab, but it wasn't really like, if you can see, like I don't show any hair. Like back then, it was just like whatever. It wasn't like a responsibility, or it wasn't really strict. And since I was like early on, when I was like in elementary school, even before I got my period, my mother wouldn't really allow me to go out in shorts, for example. But like I would wear t-shirts. Yeah.
And then tell me about the decision for you.
Like entered high school, I would say I started like thinking for myself. I was like, okay, I'm wearing hijab, but am I actually like convinced that I want to wear it? And then I was in that stage where I was questioning that, but like I came to the conclusion that I really want to wear it.
And do you have friends back in Saudi who have got to the questioning stage and they don't wear it?
Yeah. I have friends back in Saudi. I have friends, but even here, that like sometimes they would wear the hijab in Saudi Arabia just because sometimes there's this social pressure. If a girl doesn't wear the hijab, but like here they're totally okay with it. And even their families, like they're accepting of her not wearing hijab and so on.
So I want to show you a cartoon that I've used, the two of you. So the idea of modesty and the idea of really not just wanting to put yourself out there as like eye candy for men or whatever the case is. But rather saying, wait, hang on a second. So, I mean, how do you see that?
Well, talking about male domination and so on, like I would say maybe 8 years ago, like because I was like in Saudi Arabia until I graduated high school, I saw that with my own eyes. Like it was like a male-dominated society, and then like as I mentioned, people will look down on girls that wouldn't wear hijab, or like they wouldn't wear abayas, which is like the long thing. Walk down the streets of Saudi Arabia, seeing girls wearing like more of leggings and crop tops and not wearing hijab, and like to realize that it's the woman's choice or the girl's choice, because she's the one that's gonna be wearing that. And it's kind of her decision because she's deciding how she wants people to look at her.
Well, okay, so I was going to say personally, I pull my hair in a bun because my hair is really long.
But it works.
Yeah,
like,
it works. Like some girls...
Like a low one or a high one?
I'd say low. I don't like the look of... But like to each your own.
It's the same thing with hair. Like even if you have the same hair, I guess, hair type as another girl, it's just the way you wear it yourself, you know?
Hey, wait. While she's putting that, why don't you put that on her? Can you answer a couple questions? So why is it that there are different types of veils? If you look up here, right, like the niqab. So a lot of people in Saudi wear niqabs, right? Or what is? Nobody wears burqa, right? Very few.
Very, very, very few.
So what's the difference? Like why?
Same thing. Just don't want people to focus on their facial features instead of focusing on who they actually are.
So I've had some conversations with women in niqabs, right? So here, that, women who are really, really powerful. Like if you would see a woman wearing this, the first thing in the West we would imagine is she's not very much a feminist, right? But I've had conversations with feminists that are like, damn, man, far more feminist than many women that I have conversations, most women I have conversations with here in the U.S.
Well, here's a funny thing. I actually sometimes wear niqab back home.
Yeah? You're going to switch to a niqab?
Not here, but like back home mostly, yeah.
When you go back.
Like same thing. Like for me, it depends on the way people are looking at me. Like over here, I would say like 1 in 100 people would look at me sexually because I have my face like out, like I'm not covering it. But back home, because you're practically covering everything else, so that's what they focus on. I'm sorry, but guys like sexualizing women, and this is like the way it is.
Can I show you something? Hang on, you just sit like that for a second. Let me show you this. So in Saudi, like 8 years ago, when the Saudi government had to passed the rule that women had to stop sexualizing their eyes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You know, like, so you go, like, you know, if you're in the Gulf, right? And, you know, I'm walking in the mall in the Gulf, and there are all these women here, and I see nothing but their eyes.
I
But
went to Egypt once, and I was like walking in the street, and this girl's wearing like full on niqab, and she's walking down the street, and the guy goes, "Oh my God, your eyes, they're like a desert when I look into them." And I'm like, you can't even see anything, but you're gonna compliment for the eyes. So like
Exactly.
that's
You're
how
gonna
you
go with
pull
whatever.
when you
That's what
can't
I'm saying.
see.
Like,
Yeah,
people.
exactly. No, guys are going to do it. No, exactly. So the idea, so what the Saudis said was women who are wearing the niqab, because they only have their eyes to sexualize, do all sorts of things with their eyes, like this woman here, to be like,
I
"No,
don't
I'm
really
gonna
think
push
they
it."
do it to like get the, like that's what I hate when people are like, "Oh, don't wear makeup. Are you trying to get a guy's attention? Don't do this. Are you getting a guy's attention?" I'm like, no, I'm doing it because it makes me feel good. I like,
Exactly.
like girls.
Here's the thing: if that girl was looking for attention, she wouldn't wear niqab.
Yeah, she would
wouldn't wear
just
niqab.
stay with the
She would
hijab,
literally
yeah.
just like walk around in a dress or like in shorts. And I'm not saying that that's like. But if she wants attention, she knows how to get it. Like she's gonna wear
Yeah, exactly.
like whatever she's gonna wear.
Yep, exactly.
Seek
I got
attention.
you. Yep.
Yeah.
Like don't just.
No,
I don't
exactly.
get the
No, for
guys
me,
that
no,
like
hang
back
on.
home that like have such a closed mind.
Yeah, exactly.
That they would think that, oh yeah, she's doing stuff with her eyes just like to lure men or whatever. Like no.
It's
I think, Sam,
yeah,
I think
it's
what you're trying to say is that's what the Saudi government was trying to say women were
Yeah,
trying
the Saudi
to do.
government is saying,
Yeah.
hey, this is what you women are doing, and so you need to cut it out because men are, you're driving men crazy or whatever the case is. It's like, tell men to stop looking. You know?
I don't know. I just always thought, like, I would see, you know, girls in hijabs, and I always thought, like, it was beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, it's powerful. Like,
Sometimes I find myself like when I'm wearing hijab, I focus more on what I'm saying or doing instead of focusing on the way I'm looking or.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I sound stupid without like putting into words, but like, I get what you mean. Like, how I said, like, I don't know. Like, right now, I'm like, I feel weird. Like, not in a bad way, but like,
Is
I
it
have
like
a hijab on.
I'm
like-
just wondering, but is it like does it give you confidence or does
Yeah.
it make you feel weaker or like
no
oppressed?
confidence.
I guess
Not weakness at all.
It's like, which woman is more powerful? The one on the left or the one on the right? You know what I mean?
I personally don't think I think they're equally as powerful. I feel like we have two different experiences because like I was raised in America where like I'm the minority, and you were surrounded probably by a ton more women that were wearing it. So when I moved to Pennsylvania for high school, I was the only Muslim girl in my high school in the history, I think. So shout out Spring Grove because it's like middle of nowhere hick town. And like when I moved there, I got comments like, "You terrorists, like you're gonna bomb our school," and I'm like, you could be a terrorist too. Like anyone could be a terrorist. Like, so it was like a shock, like culture shock for other students in my school. But like eventually they were like, oh, like that's so cool. And everyone just like really, I think I gained a lot of respect in everyone's eyes, and everyone thought it was really cool moving forward. And, but definitely I feel as though, well, anyway, I'm just saying wearing a hijab's cool. What they're doing is cool, like Nike coming out with scarves, Macy's having like lines for women. It's really cool because growing up as a child, there wasn't much of that in America. There wasn't like the Barbie doll now, or like Ibtihaj Mohammed, the fencer for the U.S. Olympics team. So yeah, it's cool, but.